Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me this evening for a live unboxing of the Cricut Joy Extra. I've got the box right here. I did have to take it out of the shipping box because recycling was coming and I needed to get the box in recycling. But I promise you, I have not opened this box. I am coming at this completely cold, so I have no idea how this whole evening is going to go. I am setting it up cold for the first time as if I have never, and I haven't, set a Cricut Joy up before. So you're going to be working along with me and going through the whole process. We'll see how easy it is to set up or not easy to set up the Cricut Joy. So let me just quickly run down what we're going to do tonight. I've got my notes here because there's a lot that I want to get through. So we're going to obviously take this out of the box. We're going to set it up with my computer. I'm using a laptop, so we're going to set it up through that. As I'm going through everything, I'm going to give you my impressions of how, the setup process. We're going to make a project, and in preparation of that project, we're going to be going through calibration because it's going to be a print then cut project. So we need to calibrate the machine for print then cut. And then we're going to make a very simple, I'll show you the project really quickly. It's going to look a little different. This Thanksgiving place card. So just in time for, oh, you probably can't see that. Let me see if I can, here we go. This Thanksgiving place card. So like, for your Thanksgiving dinner or any other place settings, you could use it for anything, but we're going to recreate this card. It was originally done on a maker machine, so we're going to see how it works on a Cricut Joy Extra. And then I'm going to show you some other possible projects you can make with the Extra. So we're going to be in design space, we're going to make stuff, and we'll see how it goes. Anything can happen when you're going live. So let's go ahead. Oh, one other thing. As I work through, I'm going to try to pause for questions, answer your questions if you have any. One of the things that while I'm talking, I'm going to go ahead and start unboxing this thing. It's got some tape on here. But one of the things I had thought about as I was preparing for this is what kind of folks would be interested in the Joy Extra. So the Joy has been out. That's the first little mini machine. That's been out for a while. But what kind of folks would be interested in the Joy Extra, which is the next machine up? So the way that Cricut has positioned this machine is it's for folks who it's bigger, right? So 8.5 by 11. You can cut projects up to 8.5 by 11, or on a mat, or with the smart materials. I think it's up to 4 feet. And if you the other thing is for people who really like to make stickers and things like that, print then cut is native to the machine. You could do print then cut on a Cricut Joy, but you had to do a workaround with it. But this one, you don't have to do workarounds. You could do print then cut straight out of the box. Okay, speaking of out of the box, here we are. So as I was saying, I was thinking about who would use this machine. So it's people who've never ever used a cutting machine before and are curious about it. I feel like Vanna White. And here's our Cricut Extra. You have people who, it's got a little hefty. It's got a little heft to it. Actually, let's set this aside over here. You've got people who never used a machine, die cutting machine before. You've got people who may be using like the thin cut die machines. And then you have people like me who have the larger machines and are looking at the smaller machines like, is it worth it for me to even consider the smaller machines? Now, full disclosure, I have a Cricut Joy It is currently on sale on eBay. I put it up on sale Monday. So if you're interested in a Cricut Joy, I will leave the information, the link to the eBay site listing if you're interested in the Joy. So, okay, hi, it's a card, Knock Life, perfect timing. I've been considering getting one. Awesome. So this is perfect. So, all right, let's go over the contents. So we got a pen, Cricut Joy pen. Now, one thing I did think about was the whole pen situation, and I'm kind of annoyed about it because I would like Cricut to have universal pens instead of, you know, right now you have to buy Cricut Joy pens separately. You have to buy regular Cricut pens separately. The regular pens do not fit. I'll just show you what a regular Cricut pen looks like. So here's an example of a regular Cricut pen here, and this is the Cricut Joy pen. This regular pen will not work with the Cricut Joy and vice versa. And I'm like, why can't you just make universal pens? That's my own little beef. I think it just, because then you have to buy all these different pens, and I guess that's probably their ploy, their little trick to get us to buy more from them. All right, so here we have our plug. So I'll just go ahead and unwrap this. So it's a 2-part cord plug situation. That's normal with Cricut machines. And we'll just go ahead and undo this packaging here. It's on there pretty tight. All right, so we've got that, and it looks, and I kind of know this just from how the other machines work. I don't need to read the instructions for this. I'm not an instructions person, so hopefully I will not have to read the instructions to get this set up. We talked about the pen. I don't know what that is. It looks like a pick of some kind. Let's see what it says. So I have to read the instructions for that. I don't know. It might be, looks like it's sharp. It might be some sort of weeding tool. It doesn't really say. I think it's a weeding tool of some sort because it has the same kind of end, pointy end as other weeding tools. It's just smaller. Looks like a guitar pick in a way, but all right, so that's cool. I guess if you do a lot of vinyl projects, and a lot of people do vinyl projects, so it'll work. But I think you could probably find a good use for this for cardstock type projects. And then we've got this thing wrapped in plastic here. So we got to take all the protective stuff off. This is I'm surprised. This is heavy. It's pretty heavy. It's kind of hefty like the bigger machines. I'm pretty surprised by that. Nice, so some more trash, and let's see. Sometimes, okay, so in the inside here, yeah, let's do it this way. So in the inside, this is the carriage, and like the Joy, it has a single carriage. You have this little latch here that you can use to remove the blade here. So it comes with this blade housing, and then you just stick it into that little slot for cutting. And this is also where you would put your pen too. Let me just show you how to do that. So I like that. That's pretty nice that it's very easy to replace your blade and your pen. Now, if you're familiar with the Maker and Explore machines, you have two carriage holders that you don't have to swap out the blade and the pin. The pin goes on one side and the blade goes on another, but that's not a big deal. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this. Let me put this back up. So you plug that in, and then I'm going to plug in on the other side on my outlet here. Give me a second to do that. So if you hear some weird rattling, it's just me getting everything straight. Okay. Ha 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 ha. So it is doing its thing. All right. So it has an indicator light to let you know that it's on. And let me just verify. I'm going to have to read the instructions even though I don't like to. So we've done that. Da 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 da. Load machine. Blah 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 blah. Okay. It's pretty much the same setup as the other machines. Okay. Quickly, let me go over some of the materials that I bought with the machine. They don't come with the machine, but I bought them because I wanted to have them on hand. So I did get a replacement blade, which is, so basically when you replace the blade, you would push this little thing and you see the blade, and you'd pull that out, and then you would just put the new blade back in, and it looks like this. And then you just go ahead, and when you you push the little button, slap the blade or slip the blade in, and then release, and then put it back in. So that's very easy to change the blade. So I just bought this because I like to have extra on hand. The other thing I bought is 2 mats. These are 8.5 by 11 mats. And like I said, one of the big selling points of the Cricut Joy Extra is that you get more cutting space, whereas with the Cricut Joy, let me show you a Cricut Joy mat that I have. You can see the difference in the size here. The light blue is the light grip mat, and the green is the standard grip mat. This is standard across all Cricut machines, but as you can see with the difference in the size and the amount of cutting real estate, sorry for the noise, the amount of cutting real estate that you get, right? So to me, very limited in terms of what you can do here, and then look how much more real estate. But then with the this is the regular Cricut mat, so that's 12 by 12. But this is still pretty good. You can do, I would say, with the cards, you could probably do better with cards on the 8.5 by 11 because you're talking about, what you fold a what is it, 5.5 by 5.25, 5.5 by 4.25, or something like that for cards. So maybe you could do like 2 up on here. Oh, one thing though is if you are, and I'm speaking to cards because it's a Card Knock Life is on, you cannot score natively. I've seen videos where people have done workarounds on the Joy Extra and the Joy with scoring tool. This is the scoring tool. This works with Explore and Maker machines, and you can score on the Maker and Explore machines for cards or any other like 3D projects that you want to make. You cannot natively score with the Joy or the Joy Extra. You will have to look on YouTube for the workaround. I can't explain it. I don't want to explain it and be incorrect. I did watch a video and I was like, that's just too much extra work. I don't like to do a lot of workarounds. So, but you can do that, but it's not native. And actually the project that we make tonight, I'm going to have to manually score because I was checking to see if you could score and you can't. All right, so those are the mats that I got. Let's go ahead and go into Design Space because we need to connect the Joy Extra to Design Space so that it knows how to cut whatever we're going to cut. So let me go in and do that. Let me bring up design space. All right. So this is the project where these are the place cards that I've designed using items from my Fall into Autumn kit. All of these items are part of that kit, except for the cards. You have to set that up yourself. And then I'm gonna cut this out. This is I'm working on some Thanksgiving sayings that are gonna be some free SVG downloads for you guys to come out and like maybe right after Halloween. So we're gonna test this to see how this works too. But this particular card here is the one that we're gonna make. So right now the machine is set up for Maker 3, and I actually need to turn that over here to Joy Extra so that it can make its adjustments. But the other thing I need to do is we're going to have to connect this to Bluetooth. And so today when I was looking in Cricut Design Space, they've moved things around, of course, because that's what they do. This is version 8, I believe. No, we're not going to do that. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get to our home page settings. And it's asking me about something. Yes, here we go. This is what I want. So what you would do is you go under your, if you're all access member, you would go under here and under where your profile pic is, your avatar, and you're going to select, let's go back under here in case you all missed it, settings. And when you get to settings, this will show up, and I need to click on machines, and I want to do new product setup and start. Okay, yes, we're done with you. I lost my screen here. Okay, let me go back. All right, so I want machine, new product setup, start. It is not doing it. Interesting. All right. Like I said, anything that can go crazy on live will go crazy. Let me see something here. Because I'm sorry I'm squinting. I've got lights in my eyes. I'm going to check to see if it will show up in my Bluetooth. No, it doesn't see it. So this is probably what you would actually go through as a new user, what I'm going through right now. Yeah, it's not. I wonder, this might be it. Because sometimes, this is on a Mac, so sometimes a new machine will give you this weird code, and you see now it's switched over to Joy Extra. So it sees it now, but it says it's not connected. Okay, okay, now it's connected. So it does see it over there. All right, so I'm going to close my Bluetooth. I'm going to come back in here. So that was kind of like a wacky backward way to do it. But because I already kind of know how to set up Cricut machines, I know to do that. But if you are a new user, you probably want to go through the new product wizard for some reason, which is not starting. And I don't know why. Ah, there it is. Okay. So you would pick Smart Cutting Machine. That's what we have here. That's our Joy Extra. And it's saying prepare the workspace, make sure you have clearance. It's like, okay, well, that makes sense because you need space for the machine. We've already plugged it in, and we've already kind of paired it with our YouTube or with our Bluetooth, so it is showing up down here. And but it's spinning. I don't know why it's saying Cricut Joy as opposed to Cricut Joy Extra. That's a little wacky because that's not the, if I go to my Bluetooth, it's not the, yeah, it's saying Joy. It's looking for my old Joy for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, we're going to exit product setup because you guys are not. This is so weird, but this is really good that you're seeing this because you can see how wacky that this whole thing is. It doesn't, that's like very poor product setup, and I'm not sure why it's not. Now here over here you have something that says get started. That's so strange. So I don't know. And interestingly enough, this is where new users to Cricut get frustrated, because you have over here get started, and then you have over here settings, and it's like, and then over here it's saying Joy when I actually set up Joy Extra. That like makes no sense. So I'm going to select Joy Extra, and it's giving me some weird warnings, which I'm going to ignore. Okay, well, let me just go back to my Bluetooth and see if it's connected there, because if it's connected there, no. Now it is. All right, well, why don't we try something first? Why don't we do a test cut and see if that works? So I'm gonna turn off, if you're familiar with the layers panel over here on the right, I'm gonna turn off these place cards so that we can just cut the that SVG grateful. And we say make it. And while that's getting ready, I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper, because I like to use up my scraps. Okay, and I'm gonna select on the mat, because we're going to be using the mat, and I'm going to say remember the selection so I don't have to do it again. Confirm, and there's my SVG. And if we come over here to the, this is the project preview screen, you can see that it's saying that it's going to cut here, and it's about 5 inches. Yeah, I have enough paper. And then here the mat size or material size is 8.5 by 12, which is the size of my mat. So I'm going to continue, and because I had put it on Joy Extra, it defaulted to that 8.5 by 12 size. If I used another machine like the Maker, it would give me a default of 12 by 12. Yeah, see, it's saying please connect. Okay, get my free gifts. Like, I don't really, why are you asking me that? Apparently you get free gifts. Card Knock Life. I am really challenged. Yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting. I mean, I hate that you guys are seeing this, but okay, accept gifts. It won't let me not accept the gifts. Okay, I registered my machine. How is my machine registered when it's not even connecting? Like, that's crazy. That makes no sense. Oh, now, now it's asking for machine updates. All right, so I'm going to come back to me for a second while it's doing this. So this is one of the things, like I've said, is what I don't like, is that they claim that this machine is easy to set up. It is not really easy to set up. You should be able to plug and play. Your computer should be able to recognize the Bluetooth right away. And I'm on an older computer. My newer computer, I probably wouldn't have this problem, but my older computer, this is a 6-year-old laptop. So, you know, but it's, you know, it's up to date. I've used my Maker with it, so I don't, you know, it's not like it doesn't know how to use or work with anything. But, you know, now it's saying make sure you have the latest and greatest features on your machine. It's stuck on this wacky cloud thing that's trying to download something, and it will not connect. I can't connect my uh, program to the machine. It makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely none whatsoever. And it should not take this long to do this project. I mean, the setup. So I would say, she's like, okay, well, thank you. She's saying, don't hate the process. I hate it because I feel like I'm wasting people's time while all of this is going on. But honestly, I think this is typical of what people say. I've read reviews where people are like, I'm trying to set up my machine and I can't do it. And so now I see what they're experiencing, because it should not, you know, one of the things about one of the selling points of the machine is that it's supposed to be easy to set up, and it is not. What I am experiencing right now is a little bit of stress because it is not easy to set up. All right, I'm going to hit cancel, and I'm going to try to go through. Yes, I'm going to cancel the cut. I'm going to show you my screen again so you can see what I'm looking at here. Let's see if it's going to let me share my screen again. All my computer stuff is going wacky. Okay. All right. So let's go back here to setup and just see if we can. And I'm going to stop clicking and let this thing think. All right, so machines, new product setup. Okay, smart cutting machine. All right, well, this is new. We've moved forward in the screens. Select the machine. Okay, we want the Joy Extra. Clearly, I'm going to have to edit this for the the replay. All right, so we've got this. Clear the, you know, blah, blah, blah. Got it. Plug it in. And, see, now it's showing that it showed up on the Bluetooth. Yes, I agree. Activate. All right, so now, yay, progress. All right, so now it's saying it's rebooting the machine because I guess it's updating the firmware. Yeah, it's saying it's downloading the firmware, it's updating, and if we look at the machine, the light is blinking on the machine here. I don't know if you can see that. So it's going through its little process of getting rebooted. and it's still showing on the screen. So while we're waiting for the firmware to be updated, do you have any questions about Cricut in general? You've seen what how difficult it is to set this thing up. Like, that was crazy. I never even had that with the bigger machines. Um, yeah, if you have any questions about Cricut in general, the pens or materials, if you're a vinyl person, you know, you have to use the vinyl that's made for the Cricut Joy. They come in those little smaller things, smaller containers. I already talked about the pens and how you have to use Cricut Joy pens and not the regular pens. You can use the foil transfer tool. It does do foil transferring. I have a couple videos on that, but you have to use the foil transfer tool made for Joy machines because the tools are a little smaller. What else? I'm checking the chat to see if there's any questions or comments. I don't see any. So let's go back to, no, it's still uploading, but let's just go back, see if we can go back to the it's still updating. So I guess whatever Cricut is constantly updating its firmware and software. So, whenever this machine was manufactured, it probably did not have the latest and greatest. So that's why you have to go through this process when you first get the machine. So we've wasted like 30 minutes on machine setup. If you do not have a Cricut machine, do not let this incident deter you from the machine, because once you get it going, it does work well. As a card maker, do you think the Joy Extra is a better choice than the plain Joy? That's a great question. I would say yes. So let's look at that mat again. This is just the mat with me getting ready to set up for that sample cut. So I'm just going to close that for a second. Look at the difference in the mat size. So if you were to, like a regular card, like we were talking earlier, what is a regular card is what, 8.5 or 4.25 by 5.5 high, like your standard card. Yeah, this is so tiny. Now you can get, what are those? There's a mat specially made for making cards, and okay, it's waking up. There's a card mat that they have that you buy these card inserts and you insert them into this card mat, and you get that 4.25 by 5.5 size card. However, if you're a person that likes to make your own decorative cards and stamping and adding other die cuts or what have you on that, I'm not sure if that card mat is going to give you the kind of freedom that you would want to have with the Cricut Joy. Now, they do make the card mats for the Joy Extra. So if you want to use those card mats, you have that ability. Plus, you have the ability to use this size mat to make even larger cards than the 4.5 by whatever. So I would say if I was a card maker, I would probably go with the Joy Extra, just because you have a little bit more flexibility with size. I hope that answers your question, but that's what I would do. And of course, if you want even more flexibility, you probably want to go with the Maker and Explore machines. So, all right. So it's saying, okay, the machine has been set up. We're not doing this. This is cutting out vinyl. We're not going to do that. I'm going to skip that. Yes, skip the machine test. I'm going to do my own machine test. So we're going to go back to that project that I mentioned earlier. Oh, let's get started with your Cricut Joy. Okay, yeah, well, we've moved beyond that. Thank you for showing up. Like, I don't need you now. I've already done that. Let's go back to the canvas, and we're going to do our own test cut, and we're going to cut out that little SVG that I had earlier. So we're going to wait. And a lot of this could be my computer too, because like I said, this laptop is what I use for when I go live, and it's just, you know, it's probably not happy about it. All right, so there is on my screen, you should see the project preview screen again. The mat is selected. I'm going to click continue. And I've got my paper already loaded. And the Joy Extra Connect Machine part is up here. That is correct. And we're just going to wait for the rest of the no problem card knock life. So we're waiting for, see now it's saying again, please connect your Joy Extra. And it's like, I already connected it. And it's connected here under my devices. So I have no idea what's going on. I just want you all to see my face here. Just anything can happen on this is why I'll tell you, this is why I don't like to go live, because crap happens. I've spent all afternoon setting up to try to make sure, but of course I was like, I'm not going to open the box because I want to make sure everything is everything. And you know, this stuff happens. All right, so guess what? We're now back on the project screen. Life, yeah. Okay, so I have medium cardstock, so I'm selecting medium cardstock, and it's saying load tools and material. That's already loaded, and blah, blah, blah. I want default pressure because I'm using basic cardstock here. I guess it's probably 80 pound, and we're gonna go ahead and load it into the machine. So it's got these two guides here, and I just slip the mat between those two guides, and then you see how the machine pulled it in. And it's not straight, so it should spit it back out. Okay, actually, you know what it did? It readjusted it when it pulled it through, so that's actually interesting to note too. Okay, and then I just going back to the screen real quick, you have to click go, which is down here, and I'm going to click go, and the machine, it's preparing the mat, and the machine could get going. Question, can you use an iPad or do you have to use a computer? You can use your iPad or your phone. There is a mobile version of Cricut Design Space that you can use. I don't use it very often because I have fat fingers and I don't like, I have a hard time like, you know, moving things around on the screen. So I just prefer to use the desktop version, but certainly you can use a mobile version with your iPhone or iPad, and it works fine. I'm not sure what that weird clicking is. That's interesting too. Maybe it's the little star, what they call star wheels here. Okay, so that's done. So I get an on-screen prompt that says complete, and then you have to unload it from this part. Whereas with the larger machines, you can just hit an unload button. So there we have that. And let me just move him over to the side, and let's go ahead and pull this off gently. And this is now I have the little scraper, but I don't think I need it. I think it's lifting off pretty good with this. All right. So this is our test cut, because I wasn't going to cut the vinyl, so I did this instead, and that turned out pretty good. I don't know if you can see that, but there we have it. Actually, let's use that. So that's a nice clean cut. I don't see any fraying of the letters or anything like that. So I'm happy with that. That's a nice cut. So let's go ahead and set that aside so we know that the machine actually cuts. Now, we're going to start on our project. So what I need to do is I'm going to say done on my project screen in Cricut Design Space, and we're going to come back to our project, and what I'm going to do is we're going to do calibration, because I want to do print then cut. So when you're calibrating, when you get a new machine, or if you have to do a software update or firmware update, you want to go through calibration. Calibration is what the machine goes through in order for you to get those clean cuts for your print and cut projects. This is what the calibration sheet looks like. So you've got the little square, you got a rectangle, larger rectangle, then you've got these numbers and letters on the side with these little black lines. So when you go through the calibration process, Cricut is going to actually make little cuts on these things so that and you're going to look at the sheet and you're going to determine which of the cuts that it made looks the best. And when you do that, that's how you get the clean cut. A lot of times people have trouble with print then cut. They'll say that their projects aren't lined up very correctly, or like the bleed is off. A lot of times that's a calibration issue. And so if you go through the calibration process, generally that resolves the issue. So I have already printed a calibration sheet, but I will show you what you would need to do in Design Space. Let's go into Design Space so you can see where you would do calibration. They've moved it. I actually have a video on just all print and cut that's coming out next week. Of course, I did it before the software was updated. So where I'm telling you to print and cut in that, or calibrate in that video, is different because they move things around. So you come under Settings, and let it load up here. And I believe it's under Machine. Is it under Machines? Yes. Under the Machines menu, and you want Machine Calibration, you would click that drop down and you would select which machine you want. In our case, it's the Joy Extra, and then we would hit Start. So it's saying get the most, accurate cut with your print, then cut. You would then send it to the printer that you were going to do your print, then cut on generally. So I have a laser printer, and then I have, I think it's this one. This is my inkjet printer. And then I would go ahead and print. Now I've already printed the calibration sheet from that printer, and I'm going to say I already have it. And then my recommendation is if you are using printer paper for your calibration, I'm sorry, I'm opening up the other mat, then I suggest using the light grip mat, because if you use the printer paper on the standard grip mat, it just rips the paper. So my recommendation is to use the light grip mat. So it's telling me now, go ahead and load the mat. So I'm going to show you that. So here's my light grip mat. Here's my printer paper. You can also do it on cardstock. I don't know. I generally use print and cut with cardstock or sticker paper. But for calibration, I rather just use color or printer paper because I don't want to waste my cardstock on calibration. That's just me. So what you want to do is you want to try to line up your paper to what I call the 0 point on your mat, because here's 1 inch. Let me zoom in. Go closer. There we go. Here's 1 inch on the mat. Here's 1 inch going across that way. I call this the 0 point, that corner. So you want to line your paper up as best as you can on that corner with your top edge on the top edge of the grid for your mat, and on the left side, like so. Then what you're going to do is you're going to load your mat. So let me see. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see that. See the machine better. There we go. And I'm going to follow the on-screen prompts. So I'm going to go back to that screen so you can see it. And it's saying, select Cricut Joy Extra as my calibration, which is correct. And make sure that I get my mat lined up. So I guess it's thinking here. Not sure what's going on. Yep. That, okay. And it's spinning with the Bluetooth. And then it says prepare the machine. So we've already loaded the blade into the machine. We've already got our mat ready into the machine. And loaded and ready to go. It's doing its thing. And then on the on-screen prompt says go, so we're going to do that, and we're calibrating, starting the calibration process. So let me show you what it looks like in Design Space. So the machine is going through the mat, going back and forth, doing its thing, and it's going to scan the sheet and scan those little points. And it's just it's the sensor of the machine it's capturing the calibration marks on this printout so that it can get the most perfect cut. The first thing it's going to do is it's going to cut that little square in the center. Okay, now I can already so let me show you what the design space screen says. So it says, without unloading the mat, examine the cut line around the small square. Does the cut touch the printed line all the way around? If yes, proceed to calibration. If no, we need to do a basic calibration. So I'm going to show you. I'm laughing because it totally got it all messed up. I mean, it's like not even, I don't know if you can see it, but the cut is outside the line. So we need to go and do the basic calibration. So I'm going to select no in design space. Oh, there we go. And then continue and see what it tells me to do next. So now it is going through, it's cutting on the top lines. And so far it's like missing all of the lines. But it'll get it. It'll get there. And then it's going to go and do the same thing. Yeah, see, as it's making each pass, it's actually improving where it's cutting. And then it's going to do the lines on the side, on the right side, this side right here. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to examine those lines, and I'm going to choose which of the lines from the top and which of the line, well, one line from the top and one line from the side that the machine cut the closest to the center of those lines. This machine is, it sure is testing me. I'm trying to give you some shine and you're giving me a hard time. Okay, so this is where we're at. So like I just said, without unloading, I have to look at the lines and on the top and the right and see which one I think matches the best. So when I look at the machine, what the machine has cut, and I'm thinking, it's 15 and 16 are really close, and it's sort of like a toss-up between them. So I'm going to say that 16 looks a little bit better. So I would, so with the top line, I would click the drop-down menu and select 16. And then on the right side, I would say, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be really close as possible to the center cut, or the cutting in the center of the line as you can possibly get. And then for the right side, it looks like it's going to be Q. So you go down here and you select Q. And then I hit continue. And again, throughout this whole process, you can't unload until the software tells you to unload. So as far as they're concerned, they're done. So we'll see how well it does. So I'm going to hit unload. And let me show you a close-up, if I can, of how it looks. So I don't know if you can see it's probably hard to see, but I don't know if you can see those cut lines that the machine did. And those are the cut lines going down the side. Now, when I do print then cut and actually go through the making process, or the print then cut, and it does not work, then I would do the calibration again. So we'll see what happens when we get to that point. All right. because anything can happen at this point. All right, let's make this project. So I'm gonna go back to my layers panel. I'm gonna turn this guy off, and I'm gonna turn place card number 1 on because that's the one we actually want to make. And I'm gonna have to make some adjustments because originally this project was done on a Cricut maker, and we're on the Joy Extra, so we're gonna have to fix some things before we proceed. All right, I'm trying to make the screen bigger so you can see. All right, so I've got a little error message here, and I believe it's because I have this score line. It's also saying that my print then cut image is not full resolution, which I'm not really sure why it is because it's a 300 dpi resolution. So I don't know what they're talking about. So we're going to ignore that. And then, so let's fix this, the score line, because like I said, it does not have a scoring ability. So I need to detach the score line from the base of my card. I'm going to go over here to the layers panel and click detach. And I don't know if it did it or not, but we're going to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to select the line and delete it. Actually, I'm not going to delete it because I want to save this for my larger machine, so I'm just going to turn the line off. And as you can see, it disappeared. The other thing I need to fix is this text here. So that's also attached. So anytime you want to have journaling or your pen, like if you're making cards and you want to have like a handwritten type look with the Cricut pens, you have to attach your text to the print then cut item. And I have a video, I think it's called Using Cricut Pens. And if you watch that, you can learn all there is to learn about how to do that piece. But for this reason tonight, it's saying I can draw. So I know I can do that with the Cricut Joy Extra. The issue is the pen selection. So because this was originally created on a maker machine, the pen selection is for Maker and Joy size pen. So I just need to change the pen to, let's see, fine point 0.4 is what I have. So actually, that's not the pen I was going to use. I think I had a different Cricut Joy pen. Yes, I do. That one is a gel pen and it's 1.0. So I'm going to click on pen and that's selected. And then I want to come over here to the little square with the question mark, and it's gel 1 millimeter and it's a purple. So let's see if it's okay with that. If it gives me any grief, still gives me a warning message. It should not. No, it's still saying. So I may not have selected the correct pin. Let's see. I have other. Is this a gel? Yeah, it's a gel. I'm looking at my pen on the marking on the pen to see what is it saying. Oh, okay, it went away. So it's okay with that. And then I'm ignoring these other things because I don't know why it's saying low resolution when it's not low resolution. All right. And here I could also change the colors of my project, but I've already selected my papers, so I already know what colors go with what. So I'm not worried about that. And I'm going to go ahead and hit make it. Now I will have to step away for a second because it's going to be sending to the printer, which is across the other side of the room. So you will hear me yelling across the other side of the room. While we're waiting for the project preview screen, do you have any questions about what you've seen so far? The parts that actually worked. All right. Like I said, in terms of, I don't want to go through the whole process of print and cut. I'm sorry, not print and cut, but Cricut pens because tonight, because we've already gone for an hour and I have videos that go through that whole process, and the video explains what you can do on a Joy, which at the time of the video was the smallest machine, the Joy and the Maker and the Explorer. So same thing would apply for the Joy Extra. I really enjoy using Cricut pens. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. All right, so we're in the project preview screen, and it's saying this is my print and cut. So this is what my printer is going to print out. These are the items. This is where we will see how our calibration went. And then these other panel preview here are the other mats that will be in this project. I always like to review my project preview screen to make sure that the mat size is correct, the materials are the way I want them to be oriented on the mat. You know, I have the ability to move things around if I want to. So everything looks pretty good. Got the right size mat, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue. And then we are on our Make It screen. Okay, it's, oh my God. It's saying calibration is required. Didn't we just go through this? I don't believe this. I really don't. But luckily, I printed out another calibration sheet because, sorry for all the noise in the background, because I knew this was going to happen. Or I always anticipate that you could have an issue. So we're going to do this again. I'm not sure why. I have a calibration sheet, so I don't need to do that. I swear I went through calibration. I know you all saw me do it. So, I don't know. I just want you all to see my face. Ah, boy. I'm just laughing because that's all I can do at this point. I really. Oh, boy. All right. So we're going to go through the print and calibration again. And, oh my gosh. It's ridiculous. This is just so ridiculous. I feel like I'll never get to the project. Like the whole point of this was to show you all how easy it is to make a project with the Cricut Joy Extra. And it's just being extra. Oh boy. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad I printed an extra. You are so patient. You have no idea right now how I feel. I'm being patient because I'm on the air. If I was on the air, I would like, ugh. Internally, I'm like screaming. There's a couple things I'm thinking. One is, yeah, after this live stream is over, I'm going to delete this video and do a different video or edit the crap out of it because I feel like I will never finish this video. Yeah, this is like, wow. If I was, I'm telling you, if I was brand new to Cricut, I would probably be pulling my hair out right now. Because this is nuts. It shouldn't be this complicated. Like, on the Maker and Explore machines, I never had this kind of problem at all. Never. Even with the first Joy I had, I never had that kind of issue that I'm having tonight. It's just very strange why this is happening, but it is what it is. Any other questions while we're waiting? Oh, that's interesting. So let me show you what it's saying. So it's saying, yes, this time it actually cut the square out in the center. Okay. But it did a good job of cutting that little square out, so that was good. Maybe on the second pass it'll be even a tighter cut than what we had the first time. I don't know. We shall see. So far, it is actually a tighter calibration than what it did the first time. Maybe you have to do 2 passes. I don't know. But it is doing better the second time around than it was before, because before it was like way off on the lines. And now on this second pass, it's closer to the lines than it was before. So hopefully I get a cleaner cut. That machine would be out the window. I know. That's how I feel. I'm feeling like I could throw it across the room, but then you guys would be on YouTube leaving comments of like, she's crazy. Don't watch her videos. She's nuts. She was violent. And then YouTube would boot me off for violence. Okay, fine calibration. All right, so I'm going to look again. And the numbers have actually changed. So, it's tighter. So I'm going to choose 11 for the first line, for the top line. And then for the right line, I'm going to choose J. So these are actually way different than what I had the first go round. Continue. And so it's interesting, but you know, generally when you do calibration, it does what it's supposed to go through the square, and it did not do that the first time because it just said we were done, and that's why I said, yeah, we're done. And I did wonder why it didn't go through. So it's saying, is it close to the rectangle? The rectangle, is it close? And yes, it is close. Yeah, and it said calibration complete the first time too. So I don't know. I don't know what you're doing here, Mr. Cricut Joy. I'm going to use this, you know, see, at the beginning of the video I said use the light grip because it's easier to remove the copy paper. It's just doing everything opposite of what I suggested. So I had put the previous, I didn't use the scraper to get off the previous copy paper because I was trying to rush so that we could get through this video. So I just left the little bits open on the previous pass. For light grip, this is really sticky, even though I know it's a new mat, but I've never seen light grip be that sticky. But here's a tool that I like to use, a scraper. I also have a larger scraper, but these are smaller mats, so we can use this size scraper. Okay, that should clean that off. All right, now let's go back to our screen here. All right, are you gonna let me print and cut? Are you gonna let me make this project now? So we're gonna use cardstock. Yay! And we're gonna do the first, make sure that this first panel is highlighted. Okay, send to printer. Oh my goodness, I think we're almost there. And it's this one, I think, yeah. Now, when I do print then cut, I always like to add the bleed. Bleed just adds a little extra ink around the outside of your image. It looks funky, but when Cricut cuts it, it looks good. Like it'll clean it up. I'll show you what I mean after we print. I'm also going to use my system dialog box because I have to tell my printer that I want it to be, want to feed it from the rear panel. Take off my microphone. I don't know if you can still hear me. I'm making sure that my printer is set up, that it's prepared to accept this. Come back to me while that's going. I'm trying to think of anything else. So why don't I just talk about why I bought the Cricut Joy Extra while we're waiting. So one of the things that I didn't like I said, I own the Cricut Joy. One of the things I didn't like about the Joy was that it was just small. And I did use it for some projects. I am a scrapbooker primarily, so I work in 12 by 12 scrapbooking or 12 by 12 pieces of paper. I've made embellishments with the Cricut Joy, tags and titles and things like that for my pages. But I just found that it was kind of limited. Even if I use the 4.5 by, what is it, 12-inch mat, I just found that it's just limiting for me because I like a larger material to work with. But I thought it was a good machine and I did enjoy using it. I just don't think that for my purposes for scrapbooking, it was everything that I wanted it to do. The Joy Extra, I feel, is a better machine because it's bigger, for one thing. And I like that it has print then cut natively. I also like that, you know, you can use your Cricut pens with it and things like that. If you're an 8.5 by 11 scrapbooker, this is perfect for you. As a 12 by 12 scrapbooker, it still comes up a little short, but I would be able to do borders and, you know, because it goes to 12 inches, the mat, I can do, I think, a little bit more stuff. Additionally, I get people who ask me, you know, can you do more projects with scrapbooking projects with the Cricut Joy? And I'm going to try to do that. So in order to do that, I need the machine. So that's why I got the machine. So I'm hoping to do, in fact, I have some holiday videos coming up and I'm going to try to do most of those projects on the Cricut Joy Extra. All right, so I am printing. Hang on a second. I'm going across the room to get my printed piece. Just make sure that it feeds. But I am still here, just in a different part of the room. I have to kind of coax my printer to accept cardstock, so I have to kind of hold it to go through the feeder. So that's where I was. So I'm waiting for it to print out. It's almost done. Here we go. Voila, here we are. Here's my printout. Let's look at it. So that's my label. That's my other little label. And these are the marks that Cricut will use to gauge where it needs to do its print and cut stuff. So we're going to load up our paper here and follow our on-screen prompts. So let's go back to Cricut Design Space, and what is it telling me to do now? So I've got my base material selected, and now it's telling me to load the purple pen, excuse me, load the purple pen into the machine. So it's going to write on that label first, and then it's going to cut it. So let's go back here. Let me just slide the machine over. I'm removing the blade. I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to use my purple gel pen here. See that? And then I'm just going to slip it into that little like so. And then we're going to, let me zoom out a little bit, load the mat here, get it fed. Oh yeah, thank you for, I'm glad that information was helpful. You would think you would veer toward the smaller. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know someone who had a scan and cut, and that was a big machine. And I I thought it was a little complicated to use, but that just could be because I was coming from Cricut. So I also have a Silhouette, which I just bought recently, a Silhouette Cameo 4. Of course, after I bought that, they put out the Cameo 5. So I'm learning how to use that machine, and it's a little bit of a learning curve for that too. I think all of the machines have their pluses and minuses. So, but yeah, the scan and cut is a huge machine. But you know, I think for the Joy Extra, I mean, it's like when I see people using it, it's mostly for like labels and those vinyl projects, but they're small. So remember, they're only going to be as big. You're only going to be able to cut stuff as big as this mat, you know. So, you know, if you make stuff that small, then yes, it makes sense to get that. But I think with the Joy Extra, as it says, you get a little bit more extra. You have the ability to make a little bit bigger projects. But you know, these are supposed to, the Joy and the Joy Extra are your entry-level machines for people who are new to electronic cutting machines, and that's where you would want to start. You know, the Maker and Explorer are for people who do bigger size projects, and are, you know, the vinyl, the big t-shirts, the big signs, the jumbo flowers, the scrapbooking, the larger projects. So then, you know, you would move up to that. But if you're just starting with crafting, or you tend to do smaller things, then the Joy or the Joy Extra would be good for you. It's just a matter of like, do you do really mini projects? Then the Joy makes sense. But you know, like cards, you can't use vinyl or the smart feeder with the 4 feet. You're still constricted to the size of that mat. It's telling me to put the blade back in, so that's what I'm doing now. Whereas this machine natively, you know, you can put whatever, you know, 8.5 by 11 size paper on here and go to your heart's content, you know, larger stuff. All right, so it did mark it up here with the pen, and now it's going to cut, and we're going to see how that print then cut turns out. Fingers crossed. Prayers up. All right, that was nice and fast. Okie dokie. All right, we're unloading per the screen. It's telling us to unload the mat. Let's see what we have here. So let me show you, if you can see, how you can see the extra ink around that flag here. That's that bleed that I was telling you about. So when I pull this off, you should get a clean, pretty decent clean edge. I'm going to use my scraper. There you have it. I'd say that's pretty clean. That looks good. And that's what you want. You want your design to have that to the edge look. You don't want any white around it unless you do that intentionally. And then let's look at this little flag guy. Same thing. So I would say I would give it an A on that. After all you put me through, I expect you to like it better look good. All right, let's go ahead and finish the rest of the layers. So we're on layer 2 or mat 2, and we're loading our material. So we don't have to worry about any other print and cut or anything like that. We're ready to go with that. So I've got to cut I'm just getting my trimmer here. I've got to trim my paper to 8.5 so it goes across. So I'm just gonna hit the 8.5. If you're not familiar with how to use a trimmer, I have a video called How to Use a Paper Trimmer. Maybe you have found me from that video. This is like my most popular video. And I did it on a whim, and it like 2 years ago, and it was an update to a previous video, and that's like my most popular video. So if you want to know how to use a paper trimmer, check that out. Zoom out a little bit. So here we go. Click go. I'm used to, on the larger machines, you click the go button on the machine itself, not within Cricut Design Space. I'm not used to doing that in the software. So right now we're cutting out our card base. And we're unloading it, and we're just going through all of the different parts of the project. And like I was saying, this particular project is using items from, or die cuts from my fall into autumn kit. And that is available at thescrapbookschool.com. The Scrapbook School is where I offer die cut SVGs and PNG files. So the two labels that I showed you, these are the PNG files from that. And the SVG is other parts of the kit are SVGs, and I offer those at thescrapbookschool.com. So they're like pre-designed. They're made for anyone who feels a little design challenge and they want pre-made scrapbook layouts. All you have to do is upload those SVGs and cut. You can see I have a couple videos using examples or using some of the items from the fall into autumn kit. I also have a Halloween kit out right now that also has SVG and PNG files. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple of these things while they're cutting. The stuff is cutting. So here is a tag that you can make. And this was, actually I think I made this on the Joy because it's small. So that's something. I have Halloween title blocks. I have a video out. This is from my Halloween kit. So I'm just showing you some different things that the Joy can do from a scrapbooking type of point of view. I've also made some cards. Tonight we're making the place card, so that's one of the card projects you can make. Yeah, so the SVGs can be used with any cutting machine, really. A Silhouette, because like I've tested them on Silhouette and I've tested them on Cricut machines. So they're pretty fun to use. They're easy to use. All you have to do is upload the file into Cricut and cut away. And like I said, I've gotten some good feedback from them, and I'm going to be putting out more kits. I've got some holiday projects coming up that I'm going to be sharing. I'm cutting my paper so it'll fit on the mat. I've got holiday projects coming up. I'm going to be doing some holiday cards using SVGs as well. So those kits will be coming out over the next couple of weeks. I cannot believe we are already so close to Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. It has flown by like a speeding bullet. It is just gone. So we're just cutting our different pieces. We're almost done. I think I have one more piece to cut after that, and then we can go ahead and assemble. So if you have any other questions or thoughts about anything you've seen so far, go ahead and leave a comment. So far, in terms of cutting ability of this machine, it's pretty good. It's pretty zippy, which is nice. It's not going to be as fast as the larger machines, but it does, so far it's doing a good job of cutting everything. I think it did really well with the print and cut, even despite the hellish calibration process. I thought it did a good job with the pins, using the Cricut Joy pins. I thought that was good. The only thing I would hold against it is that the whole setup process, and I mean, certainly that could be user error, it could be my computer, but I think the setup process could have been a little bit more intuitive than, you know, because even if you read the instructions, it just says, you know, like all technical stuff, just go, you know, like when you get an Apple product and it just has pictures and you're supposed to interpret what the pictures mean, you know, that's the same thing that, you know, Cricut was doing, because it's a, you know, a wireless machine, and like, and I admit I did not follow all the instructions, but I think the setup could have been a little bit more intuitive, and um, so that's probably the only knock I would have. But again, a part of that is me being smart and saying I don't need the instructions. I can just figure it out. I use Cricut all the time. What do I, you know? So I got caught out there. But I still think it could have been a little bit easier because I knew where to go and how to kind of work around, because I already know Design Space. But if you like totally new to all this, you wouldn't know what I knew. You would struggle, which I think is unfortunate. But as far as ease of use of the machine itself, you know, the biggest, if you've never used Design Space before, that's something you would have to learn how to do. But in terms of it cutting, I think it's doing an excellent job. I'm not getting any fuzz, white fuzz or anything from the cuts. The cuts are clean. The print and cut was good, and the pen was fine too. So, and these are small cuts, and it's doing a pretty decent job of it. So, yeah, I think it's like, this is a really tiny, oh, the wrong camera. This is a really tiny cut. So, and it did a good job, I think, of doing that. So, hurrah for that. All right, we are done with our cutting. So I'm going to set the mat aside, and we're going to close him up here because we're done with the machine. We're done with you. And I'm going to assemble this card, this place card, very quickly, and then we'll be done. So I've got my cut pieces here, and I've also got some extra doodads. Now this here contraption is a Martha Stewart. It's a couple years old. It scores. It's a scoring board, and like I said, I think 2 missed opportunities with the Cricut Joy Extra is the ability to score natively, like print and cut natively was good, because the Joy and the Joy Extra are for kind of targeted to card makers. I know they have their pre-cut card stuff that are already pre-scored, but there are some people out there who don't want to use they don't want to use the pre-cut card mats. They want to make their own. So to me, the scoring tool should have been native to the Joy Extra. That I don't get why they didn't do that. There is a workaround on YouTube. I've seen videos. I'm not going to show you that because I don't really understand all of it. I think you have to do an adapter or something. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't do workarounds, so I'm not going to show you that. I'll just say Cricut Joy scoring, and you will find the workaround on YouTube. But missed opportunity to have this natively. And the other issue is the Cricut Joy pens versus the using regular pens. Cricut Joy pens and regular Cricut pens. It should be universal pens. We shouldn't have pens for this, that, and the third. Just, but you know, they want you to spend the money, so that's what I'm guessing. All right, so I know that I need to divide this in half. So half of 5 is 2.5. So I'm going to score at the 2.5 mark. And then just use this to flatten it. In case you're wondering, I got this scoring board at probably Michael's. All right, so let's quickly put together our place card. I'm going to zoom in so you can see closer. So we have that. And then I'm going to use, trying to remember how I set it up. I believe I had this like so. Yeah. So I'm going to use, this is a zip strip is what they call it. It's actually double-sided, has a design on either side. Actually, let's see which looks better. Do I want this one or do I want this one? I think I want this side. I'm kind of going fast because we've been on for a while. And I apologize that the first half of the video was me fumbling around trying to figure out why this stuff wasn't working. And my live, if you're new to this live stream, I hope this has not turned you off to my live streams, because I generally don't have any problems, but tonight we decided to have problems, so I have no idea why. All right. So then next I've got my little sprig here. So like I said, these are, I like to make Thanksgiving place cards. They just add a little something to your table. So, you know, use coordinated paper and cardstock. These are excellent projects for using up your stash. If you've been paper crafting for a few years, you most likely have built up a cardstock and you know what? I used the right size. Okay. You've built up cardstock and paper, pattern paper stash, and you have a ton of that stuff lying around and you need to get rid of it. Well, these types of projects are your way to get rid of it. Now I'm going to use some foam squares. These guys right here. And if you've seen some of my recent videos, you know I have issues kind of pulling this stuff off, the backing off the foam squares. They stick to your fingers and not to your paper. Yeah, okay. That was weird. And I like to use the foam squares to make stuff pop. Pop off the page. But yeah, I like having the little place cards that for Thanksgiving. I think it makes a nice little touch to your table. Then we've got our little piece here. And I think I can just glue this one on. It goes on the edge like that. I like a little dimension to the cards too, which is why I have some of the elements going off the edge. I've got a little bit of gunk, so I'm using a gum eraser to get rid of the gunk, the glue gunk. Now for the final touch, I'm going to add, and like I said, this is a really simple project. I'm going to add some pearls, some tiny pearls here. I think I'm going to use these little gold ones. And that is it. Now, I could certainly jazz it up a little bit more, but you know, sometimes your Thanksgiving guests aren't as appreciative of your place cards as you are, so where do they end up? In the trash. So I'm not gonna make it any more complicated than this, but certainly that's it. That's our place card. Isn't that cute? And I'll show you what the other projects, the other place cards, I'll show you what they look like in real life, because you did get a quick glimpse of them in the Cricut Design Space screen. So here's another one. This pumpkin was actually an SVG that I flattened to make a print then cut item. So you can do that too. So that's that. And then these are made up names. They're nobody I know. And then this one, same thing. This is actually another print then cut label, and I used a Cricut Pen to do the writing on that. And then added, I crumpled up the paper just to add like some texture, and then put some like twine here on the side. So these are just some ideas that you can make for your Thanksgiving place cards or holiday place cards. Certainly any dinner, lunch, whatever, wedding, you can make these place cards. Very simple to do. Very easy project. Very Cricut Joy and Cricut Joy Extra friendly. Some other things you can make with the Cricut Joy or Extra or Joy Extra are these shaker tags. So if you're a scrapbooker, you can even maybe put a shaker on a card too. You can make this shaker tag. Use acetate and some, let's see, these are, they call them green leaf glitter, which I got from Michael's. That's what's inside here. And this is another, these little die cuts here are from all of these are from Fall into Autumn kit. And then if you get the kit, you get a 30-page project guide, which gives you about 9 different projects that you can make, scrapbook layouts, home decor, whatever. So that's all in there. I'll leave a link to that if you're interested, or you could just go to the scrapbookschool.com and see those directly. What else could you make? I showed you this one. That's another tag. Here's another tag with a photo. So you could make that. These are all things that you could cut on a Joy or a Joy Extra with these smaller machines. And then I also showed you the scrapbook titles, the Halloween scrapbook titles, those could be done on a Joy Extra. This is an actual print then cut image here that I blew up. This is a die cut, and we saw this one before too. So these are all Cricut Extra, Joy Extra, and Joy friendly things that you can make in addition to cards. I'm sorry I don't have that many cards. I'm not really a card maker, so I don't do a lot of card projects, just the occasional card project. But so this is just a comparison, contrast between the two. So yeah, those are some things that you can do. And we are done for the evening. Thank you for hanging with me this whole time. Through all of the trials and tribulations of setting up the Joy Extra, I really appreciate it. If you have any questions about anything you've seen today, or if you were on with me live and you think of something that you forgot to ask me, I'm happy to answer your questions. I do respond to my comments. If you are watching this on the replay, just skip ahead. I'm going to put a table of contents down so you can skip ahead to the parts where we weren't crashing and burning. But thank you for being patient. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope that this has given you some insight into how the Cricut Joy is going to work. Generally, I would say good machine setup is a little crazy, but that could be part user error. But I think it does a good job, excellent job with print and cut, excellent job with cutting. I think it's a solid machine, and if you were going to upgrade from the Joy, yeah, I would go ahead and upgrade from the Joy if you think you're going to do larger projects. If you're like not, thinking about the machine, and you're trying to figure out, should I do Joy or Joy Extra? I think if you want to do print then cut natively, I would definitely just go ahead and do the Joy Extra. And if you think you're going to do bigger projects than the small mat that I showed you, the 4.5 by 6.5 mat or the 8.5 by 11, I always like to say go get more than you think you need right now, because a lot of times people grow into projects and they start or grow into things and then they're like, oh, I wish I had bought the faster machine or the bigger machine or whatever. So get the biggest machine that you can afford to get. Right now the Cricut Joy Extra is on sale. I did write down the prices. So it is, if you are a all access member, it is $179.10. If you're not an access member, it's on sale for $199. If you get the bundle, which has like some vinyl and some starter tools, I think, with it, it's $249 for non-access members and $224.99 for members. I did put a link to the Joy to the Cricut Shop store in the description of this video. If you do click that link, it is an affiliate link, which means that if you do click it, I will get a percentage of the sale if you decide to go ahead and purchase the machine from there. So that's all I have for this evening. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for hanging out with me. Be sure to check out the print then cut video that's coming out shortly, and also check out the Cricut Pens video for how to use the Cricut Pens, and the fall into autumn and Halloween layout videos that are out there in circulation right now. All right. I hope you have a great evening, and I will see you next time. Happy scrapping and card making. Take care.